It's strange. With films, paintings, books and such, I know at least on a basic level how they're constructed. So no matter how much I want to sit back and just consume, enjoy and experience certain art, I can't help but see it from the perspective of a craftsman. What's the blocking of this scene? Why that certain cut or camera angle? And how many tears were shed by the person writing the risk assessment on any Tom Cruise film? But music is different. Completely separate from its creation, I sit solely as an audience member, experiencing the final work without trying to dissect it beyond the intentions of the artist. On this channel, I predominantly focus on film and filmmaking, but music is such a huge part of my life and experience on this planet. So today, I wanted to highlight some music that resonates with me on what feels like a molecular level. I'm not scrolling through my library trying to find the most obscure artists, just the ones that speak to me. First off, a band near and dear to my heart. I initially saw them at a local music festival on a whim. There was some time spare before Basil Brush took to the stage, so I went off to a different part of the arena toward the sound of guitars. Sorry Basil, I missed your whole show as I was transfixed by Drake's Island, a psychedelic folk band with a rich acoustic sound and gorgeous vocals. As you'll soon see, my favourite genre of music is sad people with guitars crying into microphones. I don't think a band can fit that more than these guys. Their songs have a beautiful melancholy to them, introspective and emotional, yet versatile. It's something you can just jam to with it on in the background, or to the same song have an incredibly rich experience, getting so much out of it when listening intently, the music washing over you. It's wrong to hear these songs not coming from the corner of a bar. This organic expression sometimes feels like it can only be told through scratching guitar strings. I like to close my eyes and, very poorly, sing along. By the time the chorus arrives, I'm no longer in the room. No matter how stressed I might be, it really calms me down. Music is the closest humans currently have to a time machine, and I have some very fond memories attached to their discography. And their 10-minute song is superb. They make it feel so effortless. This is a triple whammy recommendation, with most of the band members also having their solo work, namely Jamie Yost, Ollie Parker, and Matthew Gordon-Price. Whilst definitely in similar ballparks, it's fantastic how distinct all of the work remains. Seeing any of their gigs is a bargain. Whilst all of Drake's Island's music is great, I especially recommend their live stuff, as it hits just that bit harder. This Root Note Sessions video I have been replaying over and over for years. Move So Still is one of my favourite songs of all time. Soon, you'll find yourself involuntarily tapping along too. Secondly, with beautiful lyrics crafting touching stories, The Howl and the Hum have been a staple on my Spotify Wrapped for the last few years. Based in York, England, I find their work to perfectly capture distinct moods like capsules. As an indie rock band, their instrumentation is impeccable, knowing when to just let the music speak for itself or when to come in with expertly written lyrics. Much like the old Richard Pride quote of, "You don't write about the horrors of war, you write about a child's burnt socks lying on the road." Songs like Smoke and Hostages offer unique perspectives on familiar concepts, likening meeting an ex to give each other the last of your things to walking across a bridge with hostages, or about how you only see a special person when you smoke together, and you've agreed this will be your last cigarette. But smoking is a hard thing to quit. I'm fascinated by stories and the way in which they're told, trying to find new ways to explore universal themes and ideas. The Howl and the Hum tell some of my favourites, creating such distinct worlds through their songs. I'm pleased to report that they're also incredible live, so if you see them performing anywhere near you, get on it. They have a great mix of slow, heartfelt songs and dance-along tunes. The track Human Contact is a bop and became the anthem of lockdown. This is the perfect example of my galaxy brain idea of only interacting with music adverts on social media. So eventually, the algorithm only feeds me band recommendations, leading me to some great stuff. If I'm going to see the ads anyway, it may as well be something useful. Particular Howl and the Hum song recommendations to get a feeling for their style would be Portrait 1, the title track of their debut album Human Contact, and I'm in love with Murmur on the right headphones. If a musician can reference Predator 2 in their lyrics, they're pretty great in my book. Lastly, I saw a tweet not too long ago celebrating Daniel Kaluuya as a generational talent. Absolutely rightly so. What a performer. The way he inhabits roles and conveys so much with so little, amazing. It then got me thinking, in the current landscape of the music industry, who would I consider to be a generational talent? There's an endless pool of incredible musicians, producing work of all genres, so I could never be as bold as to definitively say, but as I was pondering the question, I realised what I happened to be listening to in that moment. Michael Kiwanuka is a generational talent. More than likely you've heard of his track Cold Little Heart. Hell, it was the theme tune to an HBO show. In my mid to late teens, I was obsessed with this song. Almost slightly anxious to explore more of Kiwanuka's work, because how could it live up to that? So the rest of that album stayed downloaded yet unplayed on my iPhone 6S until one long car ride. In the age of streaming and playlists, the art of albums can sometimes be lost. Select tracks having lives of their own, with the surrounding work getting left behind. In my opinion, a great album is a full experience as opposed to a collection of separate ones. Not to say each song must flow into the next. I love the contrast from the end of one to the start of another, and how that intentionally can create a reaction and emotion for the listener. Michael Kiwanuka is the master of this, creating various and contrasting experiences, with distinct parts coming together to tell a cohesive whole. His at first minimalist instrumentation that builds up throughout the pieces always has me there along for the ride. One of the things I adore about his work is the sheer range in his voice. Knowing in the writing when to use his fantastic vocals to stand out separately from the rest of the track, and then when to use it almost as an instrument itself. His amalgamation of genres leads to such interesting work. The indie rock, R&B and folk influences coming together to create something beautifully unique. Let me tell you, my soul ascended seeing him live. The best way I can describe it is that there's so much life behind each song, an experience put into the music, an artist expressing themselves. I'm a sucker for a good long song as well. Much like if you're flicking through channels and you see Goodfellas on, that's your next 3 hours sorted. If any Kiwanuka song comes on shuffle, I don't care if it was supposed to be background music, I'm listening intently for the next few minutes. Music is such a powerful medium to convey thoughts, feelings and emotions. These are just 3 artists whose work speaks to something within me in an almost indescribable way, which I've been struggling to articulate for this whole video. Now that you've seen the music that speaks to me, if you have any recommendations of stuff like that, or even just things that are completely different, or if you're a musician yourself, please let me know. A quick extra note and then I'll finally be gone, I promise. Thank you all for the amazing response to the Pride Month guest essays. It was a joy collaborating with the respective writers. Please do check out the cool things they're doing in other places. Guest essays are definitely something you'll be seeing more of on the channel. There are some really exciting ones in the works. Right, I'll let you go off and listen to some great music. Thank you for watching. Sorry, Basil. Boom, boom.